What up everyone, it's your boy X-Man87 here, bringing you another G.I. Joe Classified video, and what I have for you today is the G.I. Joe Classified Series Alley Viper action figure review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's go! So the Alley Vipers are the Cobra urban assault troopers who typically operates in back alleys, hence the name Alley Viper. One of my favorite quotes from them goes like this, and I quote, "When you see us coming, you have three choices: run, fight, or surrender. If you run, we'll hunt you. If you fight, we'll crush you. If you surrender, we'll make you wish you'd never been born." End quote. Sounds like something badass if you heard it in a movie trailer with a deep, scary voice. Anyways, I'll have their old school bio up in case you want to read it. Just hit that pause button. Alright, so we're going to kick things off with accessories because he comes with a buttload of accessories here. So you got this high-tech SMG pretty much. It's a very advanced SMG. You got a scope on it. And the magazine is in an odd place. It's right there. But this is how it was on the retro figure. So I'm happy that they kept true to that. And the magazine is removable too. So that's pretty cool. If I just tug on it a little, mine is kind of stuck here. But yeah, right there, you can remove it. So if you do want to display without it, this is how it looks. And you could just plug that back in and you should hear a loud snap right there. It also has a port in the front, which is really cool. So if you wanted to add a muzzle flash effect from the Marvel Legends line, you could. Kind of tight to get in there, but I used it for photos. I'll rely on that Vipers pack when they introduce the muzzle flash effects for the G.I. Joe Classified Series line. I think that'll have the best fit to them. Then you have his AR, which is a really nice sculpt. I love the sculpt to their weapons. They always do a great job with that. Nice sculpt on top. The magazine is removable, and you could just snap that back in. And it does have a port at the front again to add those muzzle flash effects. Another OG weapon that he has, I believe this is a grapple launcher because you have the grapple hook right here, and you could just plug that in. You do have a loop right there and right here. So I believe this is a grapple launcher. So you can, if you want, you can actually tie in a rope in between these two and you know, get some nice climbing action if you want to display that. Next up, he has a handgun, and there is no port at the front. It's just as is. Then he's got two combat knives for some CQC. I don't know why it has holes in them, unless you want to tie two ropes in between these and make something fancy out of it. I don't know. I guess they just left that open for us to be creative. Then you have his backpack, and again, very, very reminiscent of the OG one. Got the Cobra logo up there. Got this wheelbarrow thing in the middle. I don't know what that's for. It's got to do something with climbing or grapples, right? Yeah, definitely got to be some kind of climbing gear. I'm not a military guy, so again, if any military people are here and want to correct me, I do not mind being wrong with whatever weapons. I don't know my weapons like that. So again, just let me know, and I'll be gladly educated for the lesson. You got grenades right there on the corner. You got a mag right here, which it would have been cool if it was removable. Got some pouches. And yeah, the overall sculpt to this is really, really nice. Even here, they didn't even have to sculpt this part, but they did. Love the effort. And then there's this gap right here, and I have no idea what this connects to. I mean, every accessory here, it just doesn't fit that shape. Unless I did something with the SMG. I don't know. This little round thing is sticking out, and I was trying to see if that could fit there. But I guess that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't look tactical to me at all, and it just pops off easily. So I don't think that's the purpose of it, but just want to know why they put something there if there's nothing that really is designed to fit that shape. And it's got this peg right here, and what's really cool about it is you can recreate the OG version where you take the grapple launcher and you see where the trigger hole is. Right here, you just connect it to the peg, and voila, that makes for some really good storage. Then lastly, his Riot Shield, which is so iconic to the Alley Viper. It's really, really cool. The old school version had a smaller Cobra logo. This one, they went real big with it, so looks really, really nice, and you get that nice Alley Viper pattern in blue on top of the orange. And then on the back, they went a little techie here, and they actually sculpted almost like a, not sculpted, but painted a grid on it. So that's pretty cool. And the sculpting inner works are right there. Shield straps, which are very nice. Nothing that clips onto the figure. They'll hold on to it, even rotates too, so you can get a good positioning of how you want to position the shield. And now that we covered all accessories, let's equip it on the Alley Viper. Alright, so first he's got 2 sheaves for the knives, so we're just gonna put that in there. And then the other one is on his wrist, so we'll just plug it in like so. His sidearm, pretty obvious, it's his only holster. The shield, I recommend not putting his hand through the straps. That's just a pain in the ass. So what you're gonna do is just pop his hand off. And then what I like to do is just loop it through so it's easy, nothing gets caught or stuck. And you can then just pop the hand back in like so. And then you're gonna take the backpack and obviously just connect it to his back. And now that we have our Alley Viper fully equipped, man, is this freaking epic. This figure is beautiful through and through. I absolutely love it. And as a kid, I love the Alley Vipers. They were probably my favorite army builders as a kid because the look of them was just so eye-catching. I was always drawn to them more than any of the other troopers that they had, like Cobra Vipers, Tele Vipers, such and such. And wow, I just I'm getting bit hard here by the nostalgia bug. It is such a beautiful figure. Hasbro really knocked it out the ballpark with this one. He just looks so heavy. I mean, when you have all the weapons stored on him, he does have some weight added on. And that's pretty realistic because the Alley Vipers are supposed to have at least 50 pounds of body armor on them. So yeah, if they jump on you, you're pretty much done. And they pretty much stayed true to the classic OG look of the Alley Viper. I mean, they added a few things here, like the sheath right there on the forearm. And then you got a sheath right there in brown. And they added some brown right here, brown padding on the boots, which is more like the 25th anniversary one. I remember the 25th anniversary added brown to the gear. So the classic one had all black boots. The classic one also had like a knife and a grenade right here, so they didn't add the grenade to the knife. That's okay though. They added the grenades on the back right here. The OG one didn't have a holster here, but I believe the 25th anniversary one did. So yeah, some additions, some mix between, you know, the classic OG, the 25th anniversary, and, you know, what they added here in the classified line. So I'm very happy with how it came out. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the accessory segment when I was covering the shield, is how you can swivel this and, you know, position it however you want. So if you want to upwards shield, twist it, leave it upright. And if you want to pose it, that backpack will fall off on you when you're posing. So it's best to just pose the figure first, get them in position, then add on the backpack. But yeah, if you want to get them in a cool crouching pose, have the SMG laying or resting on his shield so he can stay covered with his shield and yeah, just shoot away. My god, that looks freaking epic. So yeah, he can be really fun to pose, but he can also be difficult to pose because since he's so heavily layered that it can interfere with some of the posing. Like for instance, right here when I was trying to pose the gun, this sheath will just get loose, and then, you know, because he's so heavily padded right here on the torso, it's bringing those arms close together can be difficult, you know. You're just gonna have to find some creative ways and work around it as best as you can. So that can detract the fun factor for this a bit. But let's take a closer look at the figure. Now, taking a close look at the head sculpt, it's awesome. It's an Alley Viper, so they had to knock it out the ballpark here, and they freaking did. I love the shape of the helmet. It's so freaking cool, and you get nice sculpting on this bad boy. And I really like how the Cobra logo came out on the top right there. Nice and clean, can't complain. And the OG version had just the Cobra logo in front of the visor, and it never made sense to me because I'm like, how can they see? You know, here it definitely looks like there's some night vision optics right there. It's definitely modernized. It makes sense. And as a kid, I used to flip the visor up and down nonstop till it fell off. Satisfying as hell when I was a kid, and still satisfying as an adult. But as you can see, the mask texture in there looks really, really nice. It came out so cool. The eyes came out cool. You could tell they used that digital tech. So good, man. I love that Alley Viper mask. You can see the Cobra fangs sticking out there. Damn, this is so badass. And as we take a look at the rest of the body, a lot of sculpted work went towards this vest. It's really nice sculpt, though. You got the zipper in the middle. Lots of padding and pouching throughout. As I showed you the sheath before. And this is really cool, because if you want to pose your Alley Viper grabbing the knife, I thought this was really cool. You can pose it like this, or if you want to take it off, well, just pull the arm down and he can take it off himself. That looked magical, right? I didn't even do that. He did it all himself. But wow, I am just impressed with the texturing throughout. You got the straps there. The back is pretty plain. And you got the Cobra logo right there on his armband, looking really clean. I'm so happy that the paint apps came out clean on this guy. Looking crisp, man. These are new arms for sure. The vest is very heavy. Again, it's very bulky. The downside is it's going to hinder a lot of articulation. You'll see when I cover articulation. Got the belt right there. Got to guard the penis, right? You got to guard the penis. And then you got some buckles right there, painted in a nice gunmetal color too. The pants are reused from Duke. So they did that and added a holster on there. I believe it's a new holster. I could be wrong though. And there's another additional thigh strap. And they did add new knee pads to these pants, excuse me. So they're painted in the blue, some padding on them, and you get some like bolts around it too. Looks beautiful. And you get the boots right here, which is also the same as Duke. This additional padded layer as shin guards are definitely new. The only thing that bugs me is that there's this gap right here. And it's on all of them, on all of mine. They should have shifted this a little bit over. It just feels like it's not completely shifted over. But yeah, it looks like it's going inwards more than just centered. I don't know if I'm wrong. That's how it's supposed to be? I mean, you can position it however you want. I played baseball, so I position my shin guards straight in the center. Sometimes more inwards, so it all depends. And but again, in military terms, I'm not sure how that applies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now to cover articulation with the Alley Viper, his visor moves up and down because anything that moves, I consider articulation. So I will count that as articulation. He's got that double jointed neck where he's got the hinge at the top of the neck, so he looks up that far and he looks down that low, left, right, and the ball jointed neck at the bottom really helps him tilt the head around and rock it around. His arms move that far up, so you can get it higher than a T-pose. It moves down. You can rotate it around. You got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel, and a vertical hinge for the left hand, traditional hinge on the right hand. He lacks in torso articulation because of that heavy vest, so I mean, you can get down movement, some downward movement. You can get some back movement, so it's not that bad because the ball jointed waist does help out with that a lot. And of course, it moves side to side, and rocks around, it tilts. So you got the drop down hip mechanic, so it drips that far down and moves back into place. His legs split that far apart. His legs move up that high and they move that far back. You got the legs that do rock around, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, but no heel to the alley butt. And then you have the boot swivel, and you got the ankles that move only about that far. They do move down a good amount, and they rock all around. Well, sometimes that'll get in the way, but it can rock all around. You can work around it. We'll start off comparisons with a few Cobra Army builders. So here is our Alley Viper next to the Bat Trooper and Cobra Viper. Here he is next to the Cobra Trooper and Cobra Infantry. Here he is next to the Cobra Red Ninja. Can't wait to get those blue ones. Here he is next to the Regal variant Cobra Commander, Retro Destro, and Retro Baroness. Lastly, here he is next to some G.I. Joes. We have the Snake Eyes from the deluxe pack that came with Timber, Flint, and then Lady J. Alright, and now to wrap things up, my final rating is an 8.5 out of 10. These Alley Vipers are heavy loaded with accessories, as all G.I. Joe figures should be. One thing I love about the accessories in the classified line is the storage options and versatility throughout. These Alley Vipers continue to add to that. One day I'd love to see a huge accessories pack for this line. It's definitely doable, and they may up it by throwing it in with some sort of vehicle. A G.I. Joe weapons pack and a Cobra weapons pack would be amazing to see. I can go on and talk about accessories forever, but the figure itself is awesome. When you army build them, it's even more awesome. The sculpting itself is superb. The articulation is where the figure can suffer a bit, and that's not its fault completely, as it's mainly the bulky vest overlay disrupting the torso area. Whenever I struggle to get poses in the diaphragm area, it's a downer, as that's the most important area of articulation for me. If they made the vest a bit slimmer, then it would have improved mobility, since some of these layers can interfere even when holding weapons, which is a bummer. They're not as smooth as the bats, but when you can work around it, you'll have a good amount of fun posing them around. It's a nice amalgamation of the vintage and 25th anniversary line with an added flavor of classified. Definitely the most unique army builders of Cobra, since they'll pop out on your display with these bright colors. The Alley Vipers hits home for me. Nostalgia aside, this figure is the real deal. Easily in my top 10 G.I. Joe classified figures of the year. And now I kick it back to you. What do you think of the Alley Vipers? How many are you army building? I want to go for 10. Which army builders would you like to see next? Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. And that was my review. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the pics at the end of the video. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.